Beacons, how have you been? So I wrote you a story and I'm just going to read it to you from my notes and then we'll get right into this lesson. It is a warm, tranquil evening. The soft golden hues of the setting sun cast a gentle glow upon your surroundings. As you glance through the blinds, you catch a glimpse of your children playing gleefully in the backyard. Their laughter echoes in the air and a sense of pride fills your heart. But something catches your eye, stealing your attention away from them for a moment. It is a framed portrait on, on the wall, a snapshot frozen in time, capturing the essence of the family from 5 years ago. As you refocus on your children, an inexplicable feeling washes over you. It is a bittersweet realization that time has slipped through your fingers, and your once little children are not so little anymore. They have grown before your very eyes. In that moment, you find yourself reflecting on the years you've shared, yet a pang of concern tugs at you. You recognize that the depth of your connection is not as strong as you had intended or hoped for. As you stand there, a wave of emotion sweeps over you. Your forehead moistens with sweat, and a million questions flood your mind. How did time pass so quickly? How did your relationship with your kids drift to where it is now? Amidst uncertainty, a glimpse of hope emerges, a burning desire to forge a deeper and more meaningful connection with your children. In this lesson today, we'll be looking at forging connections, bonds for lasting relationships. How do you forge something? Like, if you want to allude that to metal, how do you forge metal? Like, you want to make a very beautiful urn or vase from metal. What process does it go through? It is a very arduous one, and then it requires a lot of burning and trimming and carving and cracking and breaking until that beautiful masterpiece comes to life. And that's how it is with building relationships with your children. Now, before we get to how you can, or the strategies for building relationships with your children, building a meaningful relationship with your children, what are the importance of building that relationship? Why is it even necessary in the first place? Number one is the emotional bond it helps you create with your children. Now, a child you're not connected to or with, you would not understand. A child you don't have a relationship with, you would not know. And how can you like or trust someone, or how can someone how can someone like and trust you if they do not know you? If you're not connected, if you do not maybe share experiences, if you do not share spend time together, how can you really form that bond with them? Emotional bond is very, very necessary in the parent child relationship. Number two is positive parent child relationship. What does this mean? Positivity. It means that you are connected with your children in a very positive way. You do not exert authority over them because you are their parent or that authority figure. You have a bond with them. You share a relationship with them. Think about it as maybe a relationship between grown-ups, maybe let's say in a marriage setting or even amongst friends. Now, if your relationship with your friends is positive, it means that you're able to communicate freely. It means that you are not you're not in a place where you shrink or where you're not able to express yourself freely. And then take that to your children too, because they're as human as your maybe your spouse or partner or your friends. If you do not have a positive parent-child relationship with your child, then there'll be no connection. The third on the list is emotional regulation. Your children are able to self-regulate or emotionally regulate themselves if you have a connection with them, because it gives them this sense of security, this sense of belonging, this sense of value, and that will help them, and that will boost their self-esteem. which will help them regulate emotionally. Or a child you continuously yell at, a child you are bickering at every time, a child you tear down for making mistakes, a child you even go as far as spanking or flogging, will not be able to express themselves, will not feel emotionally secure. And if the child is not secure, how will he be able to regulate himself? Now, we feel like children do not have emotions. I think here in Nigeria, there are a lot of parents, no, not that I think, I know firsthand, there are a lot of parents who maybe spank their kids and then tell them when the child is crying, they say, keep quiet. I say, come on, shut up, close your mouth. And they go, shh, keep quiet, keep quiet. Like, I am not, when I teach here, I am not trying to play the sense role. I've been a vlogger myself, I've been there. And I'm saying it as someone who has done it before, that it is not a good place to find yourself, especially looking at it from the children's angle. The last time I flogged my kids, I remember it very vividly. The look on my daughter's face, the shock. I was in front of people and she not only felt embarrassed, she was disappointed amidst, just set aside the pain from the flogging in itself. She was disappointed. And then the next morning, I didn't see her for a long time. Then she came to me. I asked her why she hadn't come to see me all morning, and she said she was scared. She was very afraid of me. That the look on my face the previous night when I flogged her made her very angry, and she was wondering what would happen if she comes to see me. Will I still be disappointed in her? Will I still love her the way I used to? And in that moment, my child disconnected from me. I began to evaluate my disciplinary measures, and I had to tell myself that any disciplinary means that will make my child disconnect with me and make my child afraid of me, and make my child not want to see me when they wake up, it's not worth it. So I began on the journey looking for ways to do better, and I found that building a more secure relationship with them really did it. I've not had to flog them in a very, 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 very long time. And with what we have built, I know that I will never have to. I have taken time, I have learned, I've gained more insight, and I am doing better. And with them holding me accountable, I know that the journey will be better. The journey will be more enjoyable moving forward. Now, your children will not be able to emotionally regulate if you're not connected with them. The fourth on the list is open communication and trust. Trust is a very big deal when it comes to parenting. You will all agree with me on that one. And trust is not just thrown around. It's something you earn. It is something you you gain, yeah, or win over time. The little actions that seem like they're trivial or very little or infinitesimal, those are the ones that actually make up the bulk of the foundation or the structure of your trust. Now, if you say you're going to do something for or with your children and you do not, that affects your trust. If you say you're going somewhere with them and for any reason whatsoever you have to cancel, you need to explain to them. Yes, teach them to accept disappointment as part of life, because sometimes you may plan to do something and you don't get around to do it. But don't keep up consistently with the habit of not following through with your promises, because it actually forms how much they can trust you. If I cannot trust mommy or daddy with this little thing, how can I trust them with the big stuff? So do not make promises you do not intend to keep, and try as much as possible to make your word your bond, and make sure that the communication lines are open. You need to be present so that you'll be able to communicate with them, so that you'll be able to really know them. Communication helps you know a lot about them, and it keeps you close to them. And then when understanding is there, the KLT works with children too. By that I mean the know, like, and trust factor. When you know each other, you get to like each other, and trust is built. Number 5 is self-esteem and identity. That also kind of relates with self-regulation and emotional regulation. A child that has a healthy self-esteem, a child that has a positive self-identity will thrive wherever he or she finds himself. And in building, forging a connection with your children helps them build a healthy self-esteem and positive self-identity. For you to make up time out of a busy schedule to maybe go to the park with them, to maybe take them to the movies, or just maybe sit or just lay in bed and have pillow talks with them, shows that they are very important, that they are valued, and then it helps their self-esteem below. So no matter how busy you are, it will be very, 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 very. You see how much emphasis I'm putting on the very. You see how many varies I'm throwing out there to be very, very good if you can make up time and forge a very formidable or deep connection with your children. Now, in order to forge connections with your children, there are, I think I have six. There are six things or bedrocks you must, maybe foundations you must lay, because how can you connect with someone, for instance, that you do not even know? The first thing you should on your bedrock list is their fundamental and changing needs. What are the fundamental needs of your children? Their physical care, their need for you need to the roof over their heads, their food, shelter, and clothing, their emotional needs, their need for love and belonging, and then their security needs. These needs change with time. What a child needs maybe when he's one may not be what he needs or how he needs it when he's two. So if you're not present, if you're not active, if you're not paying attention, you may not be able to understand. You may be speaking the language of last 5 years ago, when the child actually needs the language or to be spoken to in a different manner right now. The way you would have a 2-year-old regulate themselves, or the way you correct or connect with your 2-year-old is definitely not the way you would connect with a 5-year-old or maybe a preteen or even a teenager. The second one is emotional needs. We all have emotional needs, whether we're children or we're adults. It is very, very necessary or important or sacrosanct for us to understand this. Our children have needs too. They need to be held. They need to be talked to gently or kindly. They need to be cared for. They need to be, should I say, pampered. If these needs are not met, if the emotional tanks are not full, then there'll be a problem. If you are not filling the tank, who knows, the predator somewhere may just be taking your space or doing it for you. And we don't want the big bad wolf huffing and puffing and blowing our houses right down, right? So you have to know their emotional needs, and then you have to be able to meet those needs in the way they want them, the way they need them to be met. Now, imagine as a grown up that maybe what you need, if you're having a bad day, what you just need at that time is maybe a hug, and somebody comes to you and tells you, "Let's just go see a movie." Now, while that may be helpful, or maybe them extending or offering you help, that is not what you need in that moment. So it will not maybe fill that void for you or serve that need. So it is very important that you know what they need per time and try to meet it to the best of your abilities. The next one is age specific considerations. Now, we've said it before in the fundamental needs and how their age affects their needs. You need to know where your child is, the developmental or developmental stage or their age, so that you'll be able to attend to them accordingly. Like we said previously, what a 2-year-old needs will definitely be different from what a 5 or a 12 or a 15-year-old needs. So do not speak the language of a 2-year-old, for instance, to a 12-year-old. That's why I keep saying that there's no such thing as corporate parenting. By that I mean a one size fits all approach. Now, because they were all born to the same parents, they all maybe share the same DNA. It does not mean that they would need the same thing, or does not mean that they will be exactly the same. So if you use the approach you use in raising one to raise all of them, you see that you may be putting, yes, you certainly be putting square pegs in round holes. The next one is their temperament, their personality, and then their strengths, their weaknesses, and their talents. You need to know all these things if you must form a formidable connection or forge a formidable connection with your children. What are their temperaments? Are they choleric, sanguine, a mixture of two? Are they melancholic? We're not expecting melancholic child, for instance, to be all there. And then there's this DISC analysis that Eric Thomas advocates for a lot. You need to be able to know, like, there are some children that are very structured. You cannot just come and tell them, let us go and do this thing. Now, it's not because they do not love you, because in that moment, maybe they already have a structure for their day or for the activities they're going to indulge in. So if you maybe tell them beforehand that you're going somewhere and then they plan ahead, then you see that a lot of conflicts we have, a lot of power struggles we have with our children, they are actually very avoidable. Also, it all boils down to really knowing them. um what's their personality type, what's their communication style, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. Because of their preset temperament, they are born naturally with weaknesses, especially when you have not, if you have not maybe gone the extra mile of teaching them ways to maybe mitigate the effects of the temperaments of the weaknesses that comes with their temperament. You find out that they'll just naturally be that way because you've not put in the work to teach them otherwise. A child who comes, for instance, with maybe who is a sanguine by birth will definitely have a lot of weaknesses as much as he has strengths. So you must know which is which and know how to communicate with the child the way they are. You cannot talk to a, a choleric in the same way you would address a melancholic, because we all know that melancholics are brooders. They would keep it, to stew in whatever you have said, they will dwell in it. Not because they just want to be sad or depressive or outrightly annoying. It's because it's the way they are. It is because of the way they were formed. So if you've not taught them self-regulation, if you've not taught them to be even self-aware and to manage their emotions, to be first aware of their emotions and to be able to manage them, you see that that would really affect your relationship with them if you do not take this into cognizance. So find out what, okay, we mentioned their strengths, their weaknesses, and their talents too. All these things work in synergy, they work hand in hand in helping you build knowing them helps you build a better or forge a better connection with your children. There is their love language. A child who wants or who prefers gifts to quality time would not appreciate the gifts as much as he or she would have appreciated it if you spent maybe 10-15 minutes or 1 hour of your day with them. So knowing love language speaks to them will help you connect with them better. Don't go spending time with your child who'd rather just be on their own. You'll be a nuisance in that moment. You'll be very annoying. So find out what their love language is. I think there are 5 of them. Um, there's gifts, quality time, physical touch. I really cannot. Yeah, there are 5 of them. Quality time, gifts, affirmations, physical touch, and I can't remember the fifth one on top of my head right now. And then, but then let's move on. Speaking these languages, speaking their unique love language, will help you connect with them better. I always advocate that we be eclectic in approach, mix all 5 of them together. There are times you want to just maybe surprise them maybe give them gifts, maybe share presents with them, or to, give them, hand them presents. But at times you want to spend quality time with them. At every different point in their lives, they would have different emotional needs. So knowing how to switch it up, knowing them will help you know what language to speak and at what time. Don't say because your child loves gifts, you will not spend time with them. Don't say because your child loves gifts, you will not loves gifts, you will not maybe hug them or hold them or affirm them. Just to know what they need and try as much as possible to mix it up from time to time. And then the sixth and final one is their learning style. The way they learn will help you a lot in connecting with them. Now, if a child prefers to learn visually, and then all you do is when you teach them, or when maybe you want to do activities with them, maybe a connection activity or two with them, all you do is audio based. You will not be carrying the other visual learner along. So you must know what their learning style is so that you'll be able to connect with them on their level. Now, if you have two or three or four kids, each of them may be different. All of them may be the same. Oh, lucky you. But if they are all different, you see, you have a lot of work cut out for you. You need to find out which is which and know how to incorporate these six tools or bedrocks so that you form a very meaningful or deep connection with your children. Now, having told you the story and said what the importance of forging forging a connection with your children is, having mentioned the bedrocks for forging that connection, would like to talk about the strategies. How do I begin to form this relationship with my children? Number one is active listening. You must learn to listen to your children. You must learn to be a power parent, present, active in listening. You must listen to them, because a child who you do not listen to will not listen to you. Respect is give it, get it. Now, sometimes it may just not be coherent, may just not have anything concrete to say. But like Stephen Furtick said in one of his videos I saw, if you listen to them when it is just good morning or good afternoon, or when it is just something flimsy, they will know that they can trust you for when the big stuff come, because you would always listen. So I tell my kids, whether it is annoying, irritating, sad, depressing, amazing, terrific, trust me, I'm here for it all. I signed up to be a guiding light. I signed up to be a guardian for you. I signed up to be a beacon. Throw it all on me. I want to listen. I will be there to listen. Don't go 60. Mommy only wants to hear my victories. No, I'm not a fair weather parent. I will be there listening to it all. That is how I am choosing to build that connection, a lifelong relationship with my children. So when the big stuff in quotes starts to happen, they know that they have my ears and my heart. Number two is quality time. How much time do you spend with your children? Now, very recently, I saw a movie, and Arnold Schwarzenegger mentioned that quality time is something working parents console themselves with. In all fairness to working parents, I think I think quantity and quality, it depends on what you do in the set time you're allotting. If you have 6 hours to spend with your children, quantity time, and all you do is maybe be on your phone, chat with friends, or just be absent, you haven't spent time with them at all. But if in an hour you are able to be there, you're able to be very present and play with them and bond with them and share memories with them, then I think quality time in that regard best or beats quantity time. So ask yourself, how much can I move my schedule around so I'll be able to share quality time and be present in that moment with them? Jim Rohn said anything that comes between you and spending time with your family, it's not something you should encourage or welcome. You should put your feet down and say no to it. So if your phone is going to get in the way of spending quality time with your children, I'll advise you keep it. I'll advise you keep it aside. Number three is express. You need to express love and affection. It's not just enough to love them. Do you tell them? How often do you tell them? Do they know it? Action, they say, speaks louder than words, right? Do you act like you love them? Do you show them love? Do you spend time with them? Do you speak their love language? Do you attend to their emotional needs? Expressing love and affection will be a very good way to forge that connection you are looking to with your children. Empathy and understanding comes right next on the list. Are you empathetic? Empathy means putting yourself in other people's shoes, walking in their shoes, or even if you're not sharing the same or you're not going through the same circumstance or you've not been through it, just understanding that maybe they are going through a tough moment and trying to be there. Now, are you empathetic to your children? How do you treat them maybe when they're having an emotional meltdown, when they're throwing tantrums, when they're not able to maybe express how they feel? Do you show them empathy? Are you there with them? Do you work with them? Do you listen to them? Are you patient with them? Are you understanding? Something goes wrong and are you quick to lose your temper without first maybe pausing to think, maybe this child was tired, maybe this child was overwhelmed, maybe this child did not even understand what to do or know what to do. How empathetic are you? Do you just want things to be done, and if they don't get done, it pisses you off and then you take it out on them? If you really need to build, if you really are looking to build a very, very deep connection with your children, you must be empathetic and understanding. Another way to forge a deep connection with your children is through shared experiences. What you people do together. These little things will be the memories you look back to tomorrow and smile. What memories do you share? What places do you go to together? What activities do you do together? What do they like and enjoy? What new experiences are you introducing that you could share together? Sometimes just let them lead. Let them just maybe pick activities that you can do together and then do it with them. Be a child for that moment, be lost in it. Here in Nigeria, we say problem, no they finish. Wahala, no they finish. That just means that problems are never ending. Your struggles never ever end. The moment you're putting out a fire today, as I said, the very next minute, another one is saying, so you have to just maybe be still in that moment, set aside your issues, and really get down with them. Because before you know it, you'll be looking through the window at your children playing at the backyard and wondering where all that or time went, because they grow up. You may not notice it, but they actually do. Because you see them every day, you may not notice the exponential growth sprout, but then they are growing up. So make the most of every moment, because you will never get a lost moment back. The next one is respect and validation. A lot of us are very mean. Okay, no, we treat our children in a very demeaning way because they are littler, because they are younger. We just treat them like crap. Picture this scenario: your friend goes out with you, um, and maybe you say something wrong, or you mistakenly spill coffee on your friend's dress, and then friend just gives you a sweet sounding unexpected slap, and then you are shocked. Like in Nigeria, we will say, it shocked you. You are shocked and oh my god, and very embarrassed because there are people in the restaurant with you or in the bar with you, and it happened right in front of witnesses. How would you feel about your friend in that moment? It was a mistake, an honest one. Would you have felt better if your friend simply said, would you have felt better if your friend simply said, well, don't worry about it. Just go to the bathroom and see if I can wipe it off. Don't worry, it's just a dress. How would you feel? Now take it down to your child. Your child makes a mistake, and before you know it, they slap in the the middle of their face? How do you think they feel? What do you think happens to your relationship with them in that moment? Let's just stop treating children like they are not humans. That they are younger does not mean that they do not have emotions, that they do not feel disappointed, that they do not feel embarrassed, that they do not feel uh, anxious. They feel these emotions, and because they do not have the vocabulary or the words for them yet, they cannot express these feelings, and then all they can do is maybe cry, because they cannot find words to tell you, I am hurting. They cannot find words to tell you, I am disappointed. They cannot find words to tell you, I am feeling embarrassed. They just cry. And then some of us, when they are crying, you tell them, shh, shut up. You're telling them to suppress their emotions. You're telling them to bottle it up. You're telling them to zip it. How would you feel if you were having that moment, that very emotional moment, like you're overwhelmed and then you lose it and then you're crying? Your friend says, shut up. Will you keep quiet there? You keep quiet there. If you don't keep quiet, I'll come and flog you. If you don't keep quiet, I'll come and I'll come and spank you. What rubbish! And then starts raining down insults on you. You will definitely feel like this person must be nuts, right? So why do you think it's any different with your child? What do they know? You that knows, you knowest. How are you treating them? Do unto others as you want to be done to you. Treat them in the manner you want to be treated to. So they are children, yes. You are just older than them in age. With time, with a lot of years, they will also be as old, or maybe even definitely wiser than you. Definitely wiser. Because there'll be a lot of new experiences and everything that'll make them wiser. So if you do not like to be treated a certain way, please do not hand that treatment to them. They are only younger. They are not less human. They are not inferior to you in any way. So respect your children and validate them. If they're feeling sad, don't shut them down. Don't make them feel like sadness is a bad emotion, or that they are bad people for feeling the way they feel. Validate them. I can see you're feeling sad right now, and it's okay to be sad. I tell my kids, it is okay to be angry. It is okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be frustrated. It is okay to be jealous. What's not okay is staying that way. What's not okay is remaining that way. So you need to learn to self-regulate and find your way back to being happy. You need to learn to respect your children and validate them. Tell them that what they have done is wrong. Doesn't mean that they are wrong. Allow them make mistakes. Don't make them afraid of spilling water because you're going to be behind them with a big loud knock. Don't make them afraid of making mistakes, because how will they learn if they do not make mistakes? Don't sell perfection to them, because you're not perfect in yourself. No one even is. So if you keep hitting them, if you keep shutting them up, if you keep shutting them down, you will not be building a connection with them. Now, a lot of children cannot wait to leave the house because they are tired of the cycle of abuse, or cycle of negativity. And then when the opportunity comes for them to leave home, they don't want to come back. Or every time they want to come back home, they are feeling scared or anxious. All that emotion starts coming up to the surface again. So beacons, our fight is different. The work in front of us is different. Our job is to show the world how to behave differently. Our job is to teach the gospel of excellent parenting to others, to be the light that would guide other parents in doing better. How will we teach others if we are not shining the light ourselves? If we are not cleaning our lamps daily so that the light will shine brighter? That the children God has given us will see, and then the people around us will learn to. Validate them, correct them, connect with them, and then that way you will help them be better people. With your children, let me ask you this question. If your children leave your home today, they're definitely not going to be there with you forever. If they leave your home today, will they be happy to come visiting? Will you have something to talk about other than good morning, daddy, good morning, mommy, how was your day, how is work? Each time you speak on the phone. Now, you would know what that future would look like if right now, when your car honks in the car park or the carport, what happens? Are your children rushing to the door to welcome you, or are they running to hide? The lion is here. Let us go and hide. Or hey, daddy's here, mommy's here. We missed you. Your children do not miss you when you're out, or do not run to welcome you when you're back. If you go to hide when you're home, or have to hide what they are doing when you're coming, check your connection with them. Something is wrong somewhere. Let us go on, please. I haven't said all of this. Active listening, quality time, expressing love and affection, sharing experiences, empathy and understanding, and then respect and validation. You should understand that every child is unique. There's no one size fits all to this parenting journey. You should know your child and what works for them. What works for my children most certainly will not work for you. Our experiences are different, our circumstances are different, our tastes, our needs, our choices are different. So like I always say, sift through what you learn and then pick what works for you, adapt it to your unique setting, and then take it from there. Now, what are the challenges that may maybe limit us or prevent us from building a formidable relationship with our children? The first on the list is time constraints. For some of us parents, especially the working parents, oh my God, we appreciate you a lot, because I don't know how you are able to maybe run 3 shifts and then come home and still be a parent. Parenting in itself is a full-time job. You drop your children in school in the morning, and then you wake up in the morning and have to do everything you need to make sure that they're ready before the school bus comes. And then when you're done, you have to drop them off, or maybe get ready and for some of you who have to drop your children off, get ready so that you people will all leave the home at the same time. And then maybe you work in 9 to 5, or you're running shifts. And when you're done, you still have to go and pick them from school, come back home, and then maybe fix dinner. Like, we appreciate you for all the work you put into raising your children. We see you. We know that you're doing a lot. And we say thank you very much. And then I know very much, I'm aware that time constraints could be a very big limiting factor to building a connection with your children. And what I've done personally is to declutter my life. Identify your glass balls. Like I've said on this channel before, your glass balls are those balls that when you drop them, they'll shatter. Not break, they'll just shatter outrightly. Connecting with your children is one of such glass balls. Identify what your glass balls are, and then identify where you are in your journey, and then declutter accordingly. There can be time if you allow some things go, if you make sacrifices. You don't have to be on social media for the whole day. You don't have to be on many groups or committees or associations. If where you are in your parenting journey doesn't permit you to be in different societies or groups or associations in the church or in your school community or in your workplace, by all means opt out. The time will come where you have a lot of time to be in a lot of associations or do a lot of things. Focus on building the connection with your children now, because a lot is going to depend on it. Their future and yours will depend on it. You don't want to get to their launch phase. You don't want to launch them into life and then they'll be all alone by themselves. They are going to need you even after they've long left your home. They are going to need you when they become parents themselves. So you need to identify what's important to you, and not the bird to kill to feed the butterfly, or vice versa. If you know what's important to you and declutter, you definitely will have time. You definitely will have time on your hands. The next one is a very, very big one. Technology distractions. A lot of us are addicted to our phones. notification goes off, you are picking up the phone. Your phone rings. Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, Facebook, all these things distract you a lot. You want to know what's trending. You want to know what's going on with your favorites, maybe influencer or celebrity. So if you actually track your time, you find out that you're spending a lot of time on your phone, maybe on social media, maybe just mindlessly scrolling. You need to decide what's important to you in every stage in your journey as a parent. You cannot be on social media for hours and then complain that you do not have time to connect with your children. If you need to, I personally am off IG right now because I noticed that it was taking my time. You need to know where you are and then be able to make sacrifices so that you'll be present, so that you'll be active, and then your children can talk to you, because a lot depends on it. The next one is communication barriers. Communication barriers can be as a result of generational gap, can be as a result of differences in communication style, or language barrier. We um, we will not be able to communicate to our children, for instance, if efficiently or effectively, for instance, when maybe you're 50 and your child is maybe 10. The generational gap, is the age gap, is a lot. The terms they will use, the language they will use, you may not be able to understand. That's a big shortfall when it comes to connecting with your children. You need to learn to adapt. You need to maybe learn to meet them halfway. You need to really put in work into learning their communication style and speaking to them in the language they will understand. No one said parenting was easy. No one said it was going to be a walk in the park or a piece of cake, like my little girl said the other day. We're just saying put in the work. We're just saying show up. We're just saying put in your best. Put your best foot forward every time and make the journey an interesting one for you. The next one is emotional walls. Children are quick to fence us off if we are constantly trying to control them. No one wants to be around a control freak. If we're constantly pushing them to despair, even the Bible says, honor your father and your mother. That's the only part parents are quick to scream at their children. Honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long on the earth with the Lord has given you or put you on. But then you do not add the other parts that says parents, do not push your children to despair. You keep shouting at this child. You keep yelling insults at them. You're using abusive language. You are even hitting them, and you expect them to love you, to respect you, and want to be around you. Come on now, how many of you fathers or mothers will want to be around an abusive partner or friend? How many of you want to be around somebody who doesn't respect or honor you? How many of you would want to be around somebody who hits you? Why do you not want that from your child? After beating the child, and then you come and act like nothing happened, and then you send them on errands and want them to go with a big smile on their faces. Is there any form of hypocrisy worse than that? You want them to be all smiles and giggles when in the last 3 hours you've called them all sorts of names. Why won't they build the walls? Why won't they fence you out? When you keep treating them like trash, when you keep talking them down or tearing them down, when you keep making them feel small so you can feel big, when you keep selling yourself as a perfect story and making them feel terrible, those walls will be up. Unless, of course, you learn to deal with your traumas, you learn to break the negative cycle, and then you learn to show up as a whole parent. A lot of parents are traumatized and are currently traumatizing their children because they've not healed from their childhood trauma. You think that when you're older, all of the negativity, all of the cognitive biases, all of the negative cycles are broken. No, it doesn't break with age. It breaks with commitment. It breaks with efforts in terminating these things. It may take therapy. It may take a lot of sessions with a therapist. Here in my country, when you tell somebody you're going to see a shrink or a therapist, they think you're crazy. This person don't go low, like you're mad. No, it's not a mad person who sees a behavioral psychologist or a therapist. It's not a mad person who goes for counseling. You need to heal from your trauma so that you will not be traumatizing your children. You will not be raising them from a place of hurt. We are broken. A lot of us are broken people and are now breaking our children unconsciously, not deliberately. No, not unconsciously, like you are not doing it deliberately, unintentionally. Now you now have to intentionally say, I was raised this way. I don't want to allow my children go through what I'm going through. Let this cycle die with me so a new one can rise from me. Let the cycle of abuse end with me so the legacy of love and endearment will start from me. I am very big on asking you what your legacy is, what you will be remembered for. Will you be that parent who ended the cycle of abuse? Will you be the parent who ended the cycle of flogging? Will you be the parent who ended the cycle of molestation and say, no longer shall any member of my generation or my lineage be treated this way? I will stand and fight and end it and teach my children to do differently, and then journal and leave them instructions so that they will not pass on this to my children. Did you enjoy being beaten by your parents? Did you enjoy being insulted or abused by them? What do you think your children enjoyed right now? How did you feel each time your father had to raise his voice at you? How did you feel each time your mom had to call you names? Had to shame you, embarrass you in public? What do you think your children enjoyed right now? Why? Will you rise up and say, this ends with me? I want to love up on my children and raise them in a loving environment. I want to create the dynamics or set the pace for a better future for my family. I want to be remembered as that father or mother who ended the cycle of molestation. What will you be remembered for? Power struggles is the very next one on our list. Sometimes because we are not self-aware, and then we do not know our children, we do not have relationship management skills or social awareness. We are in a power battle or hustle or struggle with our children. We want to control them because they are younger, forgetting that they have their tastes, their choices, their preferences. They have a mind of their own. Like we said in one of our videos here on the channel, critical thinking, ability to think, is the new legacy that you can pass to your children. The ability to think for themselves. So you want to control them, you must do this because I said so. Now something happened, I think, sometime last month, where we're going to church, and I asked my daughter to wear a certain dress, and she said she didn't like the dress. And I asked her why. She explained that there was a pattern on it that she didn't quite like. After talking to her, oh, it's a dress I really love. I love this style. It's something I can even wear myself. It's really beautiful. The blush pink on it, it's amazing. And then you could actually twin with your sisters. After going back and forth and up and down about it, she insisted on not wearing the dress. I felt bad at first, but then I sat down and I thought of it. This is a good thing. It means that she has a mind of her own. It means that nobody can talk her into doing what she doesn't want. It means that she can make her choice and stand by it, even if she's convinced otherwise. And I told myself, well done, Laurie. You're doing well. For some parents, that would be a problem. I told you to wear it, you must wear it. Why? Will the world end if she doesn't wear the dress? It's not like there's a family event that requires all of you to maybe put on that dress. So why make it compulsory? Why try to control the child? If you're secure in yourself, you'll be okay with your child saying no. No to you. Because if your child does not learn to say no to you as the first authority figure in their lives, how will they learn to say no to someone else outside? We're talking about assertiveness, but you expect your children to say yes, yes, ma'am, and go and run and walk on every command you give them. Where will they learn to say no? If charity begins at home and then they cannot say no to you. Even God gives us our permissive will. We're able to make some decisions for ourselves, a lot of decisions for ourselves. The Bible says He has put before us life and death, and then He urges us, admonishes us, encourages us to choose choose life that we may live. But then the choice is ours to make. If God in all His power and mightiness can give us room to make our choices, why don't we allow our children make choices? Give them wiggle room and help them make guided choices. Now that they are allowed to make choices does not mean that your child will say, I want to go and put my hand over a burning stove, and then you allow them. That's not what we're saying. We're saying allow them make choices, allow them, teach them to make, allow them make safe choices. Or okay, not that doesn't mean that they should not also take risks, but I know you get what I'm saying or where I'm coming from. Allow them make choices, allow them make decisions, and be okay with them saying no to you. Heal from your trauma, grow your self-esteem. So when they say no, you know it's not just about you. They have a mind of their own, and they're living their own lives finally. Parental self-care. I'll say this over and over and over and over and over again, even without fear of sounding like a broken record. If you are not fully rested, if you are burned out, you will not be able to parent effectively. Take care of yourself. Self-care is very important. You cannot give from, or you cannot pour from an empty cup. Like John Obidi said, in all wisdom, you can only pour from your overflow. So if you're not rested enough, if you do not have enough love for yourself, you will not be able to love upon your children. You will not be able to build a connection. Today, we've been able to talk about the importance of forging connections, building bonds for lasting relationships. We talked about the bedrocks, the fundamental needs of your children. We talked about their emotional needs. We talked about age specific considerations and their changing needs. We talked about their temperaments, their personality types. We talked about their strengths, weaknesses, and their talents. And we mentioned love language as a bedrock of forging a formidable connection with your children. And then we said learning style is one of them. We talked about the strategies for forging connection with your children. We said active listening, quality time, shared experiences, expressing love and affection, empathy and understanding. And then we mentioned respect and validation. We went on to mention the challenges or what will limit you or prevent you from forging connection with your children. And then we went on to give you possible solutions to those challenges. Have you gotten value so far from this video? Have you subscribed to this channel yet? Have you shared this video? Please do so, because I know that you got value from this. I believe that you did, and I know that a lot of your friends and loved ones will get value too. Like I've already said, there's no one size fits all. What works for you may not work for me. So understand where you are in your journey, understand your family dynamics, think about what your vision for your family is, and start today to work on forging a connection. It's okay if you haven't previously put in time to do to maybe work on your relationship with your children. Instead of crying over lost time, start from now. 5 years from now, you'll be amazed how much you have built. And like has become a tradition here on the Larry brand, we'll end with two quotes. Number one is, connection is the energy that is created between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. I'll take that again. Connection is the energy that is created between people when they feel seen, Head and Values. That's by Brené Brown. Oh my God, Brené is a darling. Like, you need you need to go search for her. She's an amazing person. She's done a lot of research on vulnerability, shame, and God, she's just a treasure. She is. The next one is by Zig Ziglar. He says the greatest gift you can give your children is undivided time and attention, because life will get in the way, distractions will come, but the onus is on you to decide which you would choose at every point in time: to get distracted, to build your connection with your children, to spend the next 10 minutes just playing or rolling around with your children, or to let 5 years go by and then you'll be running helter skelter. Thank you so much for watching this video to its end, and for always watching our videos here on the Lori brand. We appreciate every second you spend with us, and we appreciate you. Till we see you again in our next video, stay blessed, and remember, you can be an excellent parent if you choose to.